Google Nexus 5 is an upgraded version of the Google Nexus 4, which was an incredible phone for the price. The specs were solid, the performance and the software were great, but when it came to the camera and the battery life, the phone didn't shine that much. But how about the Nexus 5? What's up everyone, my name is Ben, and this is my full review of the Google Nexus 5. So first off, let's talk about the hardware side of things. The Nexus 5 has a quad-core 2.3 GHz processor alongside with 2 GB of RAM and an Adreno 330 graphics. The phone also packs a 4.95-inch display with a resolution of 1920 by 1080 with a PPI of 445. The Nexus 5 also packs in an 8-megapixel camera which takes some solid pictures and a front-facing camera with 1.3 megapixels. So let's start off with taking a quick look at the design and build quality of this phone. This phone comes in two colors, a white one which has a white back and a glossy finish to it, and this black one which I have got right here, which has this plastic rubbery type of feel which I actually like a lot. The build quality of the phone is in my opinion pretty good as it feels real nice in the hand. The only thing that I didn't like all that much are the buttons, which felt a bit loose. I know that Google and LG made that on purpose, but I just didn't like that all that much, as it did feel like I'm going to break the buttons. As I have mentioned the display earlier, let's talk about that for a bit. When I first spotted on the display, I was absolutely shocked, and I mean it. The color reproduction, saturation, brightness, everything was just perfect. I watched a ton of YouTube videos and TV shows, and I was getting kind of addicted to display, to be honest with you guys. When you buy this phone, Google also provides a few really high quality wallpapers which look absolutely stunning. I also love how incredibly fast this phone performed, and if you guys have seen my comparison between the Nexus 5 and the iPhone 5s, you can see that the Nexus 5 performs way faster in pretty much everything. App opening, games, you name it. I also did a 3D Mark benchmark on the Nexus 5 and it scored maxed out. And I'm not even kidding. The app said that I need to choose a higher end benchmark. Browsing the web was also a great experience thanks to LTE and specifications on this device. Anyway, when it comes to the speed, this phone will not disappoint you. Now let's talk about the audio on the Nexus 5. First off, I want to clarify that the Nexus 5 only has one speaker, not two because it has two speaker grills. There's a speaker in one hole and a microphone in another one. Another thing is that about a week ago Google started pushing out these new Nexuses with a different design speaker. When it comes to the speaker, the sound was good, but definitely nothing above that. It's usable, but I would still recommend using headphones. I also mentioned the camera earlier, which is an 8-megapixel camera. The back camera can shoot video in 1080p, which is nothing unusual. With the previous model of the Nexus 4, we have seen that the camera quality was pretty poor, washed out, not a good camera at all. But with the Nexus 5, it's a little bit of a different story. The Nexus 5 recently received an update which improved the camera and some other things. The camera is a lot faster now and it performs slightly better. The colors look decent and the saturation is about right, but then again you can't expect the same result from a $350 phone than you can expect with a $700 phone. As the CC Nexus device, you have the benefit of receiving Google updates right away after they release them, which is in my opinion really good as usually new updates bring better performance and better features. As of right now, the latest version of Android is Android 4.4.2 KitKat, which was released to improve some of the Nexus 5 features. KitKat also brings some special new features like art, which will improve battery life and performance. There's no separate SMS app as Google decided to combine SMS and Hangouts into one app. You also have a quick camera shortcut on your lock screen, which is really useful. You also need to hear my thoughts about the call quality, right? Well, all I've got to say is that it was excellent, as it is almost on every phone you buy these days. I mentioned the battery life earlier, so let me talk about that for a bit. When I first started using this phone, I wasn't impressed by the battery life, which means that it wasn't that bad, but it wasn't that good either. It was okay. I was using this device from 6:30 am to about 10 pm on medium usage when the phone died. But when I enabled art, the battery life really improved. And not only that, I also noticed even better performance in games, which I've got to appreciate. After I have enabled art, I got around a day and a half to 2 days of battery life out of the Nexus 5's 2300 mAh battery, which is pretty good. So now my final thoughts on the Google Nexus 5. This phone is amazing. The specs are great, the camera is okay, the display is magical, and that's all the basic consumer needs. Yeah, I know that the battery life could have been a bit better and that the camera could be slightly improved, but you just can't complain over a $350 phone. Before we wrap up, I want to say thanks to Telecom Slovenia for providing the Nexus 5 for review. Anyway guys, be sure to like, comment and subscribe for more high quality technology videos.